All right, everybody, buckle up because today we are diving deep into Bitcoin.
Deep dive is right.
You got that right.
Yeah.
We're talking about if Bitcoin is going to crash again.
Big question.
Yeah, huge question mark hanging over everybody right now. And
A lot of people are asking about this.
so many people want to know, and we want to give you like the TLDR, like get to the point.
Yeah.
Give us the info so we can make some decisions, right?
That's what we're here for.
So we are looking at this Cointelegraph article.
Always good stuff, really in depth.
They're like the
Experts.
yeah, they always have the inside scoop.
For sure. And it's something we need to watch carefully because we know Bitcoin can be a bit of a roller coaster sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Up and down, just got to be ready.
Right. So we saw Bitcoin take a bit of a dip, hit a low point, but then, bam, a 22% surge.
Yeah, but that's the thing about Bitcoin, right? Always bouncing around.
Well, and that's what's got me, right? So it's up 22%, but seems to be struggling at that $64,000 mark. It's like it can't quite break through that ceiling.
That's right. That $64,000 is a key resistance level.
Okay, resistance level, break it down for us. What does that even mean?
It's like an invisible barrier, right?
Okay,
Imagine a wall that traders can see.
gotcha.
It's a price point where a lot of people had previously sold.
I'm with you. Keep going.
So when the price gets back up there, there's this pressure.
They're ready to sell again.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that makes it harder for the price to go any higher.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's all about supply and demand.
Fascinating. Now, what's wild is Cointelegraph is saying that 85% of Bitcoin holders right now are in profit.
That's huge. Right.
That's a lot of people sitting on some gains.
Yeah, it's like imagine a stadium full of people,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, okay, I'm picturing it.
And almost everyone in that stadium bought their ticket to the game, aka their Bitcoin, at a lower price than it is right now.
Right, so they could sell right now and make money.
Exactly.
But does that mean that they will sell? That's the question.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's a bit of a gamble. You see that many people in profit, you start to wonder, is this the peak? Should I cash out now before it potentially drops again?
So that much profit out there, is that actually a bad sign?
Well, it can be, yeah. It can create this thing called overheating.
Overheating, like the market is going to burst into flames.
Sort of. It's like a pressure cooker, right?
Oh, okay.
When the pressure gets too high, all those potential profits, something has to give.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. What happens then?
That's when you often see a correction, a dip in the price.
Because people start selling to lock in their gains.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've got a lot of profit taking potentially on the horizon. Everyone's watching that $64,000 mark like a hawk. And we haven't even touched on what's happening in the Bitcoin futures market, which, let me tell you, is a whole other beast.
Yeah, the futures market is where things get really interesting and a bit more complex.
Oh, I bet. But we've got to unpack it. So next up, we're diving headfirst into the world of Bitcoin futures. Stay tuned, folks. This deep dive is just getting started. Okay, so futures.
This is where the big players come in.
All right, hit me with it. What's going on in the Bitcoin futures market?
Well, we are seeing a huge surge in something called, get this, open interest.
Okay, open interest. I've heard that thrown around, but I'll be honest, I don't fully grasp it.
That's all right. It's basically a fancy way of saying how much money is betting on Bitcoin's future price.
Oh, okay. So, like, are people betting it'll go up or down?
Exactly, both. It's like a giant tug of war.
Got it.
And right now, a lot of people are pulling on that rope.
And that means, what does that tell us?
It means there's a ton of anticipation right now. Everyone's waiting to see which way Bitcoin will swing.
Okay, anticipation, I feel that. But isn't that always the case with Bitcoin?
Sure, there's always some level of anticipation, but this is different. This surge in open interest, it suggests. It suggests that traders are really loading up their positions. They're using something called leverage, which is basically like...
Leverage? Oh, boy, that sounds risky. I feel like I've heard horror stories.
Oh, go. It can be. Leverage is like using borrowed money to amplify your bets.
So you can win big, but also...
You can lose big, exactly.
Oof, okay. So there's a lot of leverage in the futures market right now. What does that have to do with, the whole crash potential thing?
Well, remember what happened in August? Similar situation, big spike in open interest, followed by a pretty steep drop in Bitcoin's price.
Not good. So are we saying history is about to repeat itself?
We can't say for sure, but it's definitely something to watch. When you have a lot of leverage in the market, things can unravel very quickly.
So high open interest, lots of leverage, everyone's on edge, waiting to see what happens with this $64,000 resistance level. Is there anything else that Cointelegraph mentioned that we should be aware of?
Yeah, there's this whole psychological aspect to it, right? Like we said, traders are watching each other.
Oh, for sure. It's like a game of chicken almost.
Exactly. So when they see this high open interest, it can actually influence their decisions.
How so?
Well, if you're a trader and you see everyone else piling into Bitcoin, you might be tempted to jump on board too.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Precisely. And on the flip side, if you see a bunch of people pulling out, you might think, oh, maybe I should get out too.
Makes sense. So it's not just about the numbers, it's about how those numbers make people feel.
Exactly. It's all about sentiment.
Wow, okay. This is getting intense. It feels like we're heading for a climax here. Bitcoin is struggling to break through $64,000, and if it doesn't, it sounds like things could get messy.
Well, let's revisit that $64,000 mark because Telegraph had some interesting observations about it.
Yeah, they did say that Bitcoin tried to break through that level back in August, right? And that didn't exactly go as planned. So August, yeah, they said something like Bitcoin tried to power through that $64,000 level, and
Yeah, it didn't really work out too well. Kind of like hitting a brick wall, you know?
what happened then? Remind me.
It ended up dropping 17.5%.
Ouch. That's a pretty steep fall. Okay, so $64,000 is clearly a big deal. But I gotta ask, what's so magical about these resistance levels anyway? How come they hold so much power?
Think of it like this. You got a bunch of traders who bought Bitcoin at $64,000, right?
Okay,
And they're just waiting for the price to get back up there so they can at least break even.
makes sense.
Now, as soon as the price gets close to that level, they're all ready to sell.
To get their money back.
Exactly. So you have this big wall of sell orders just sitting there.
Okay, so it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's expecting it to drop at $64,000, so it kind of has to.
Kinda, yeah. It becomes this psychological barrier. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the emotions involved too.
Right, right. Fear and greed and all that jazz. So what happens if, by some miracle, Bitcoin does manage to break through $64,000?
Well, then things could get really interesting.
Oh, how so?
Because then you have all these traders who were waiting to sell at $64,000, but now they've missed their chance.
And they're kicking themselves.
Exactly, and some of them might even jump back in thinking, okay, maybe that's going even higher now.
So it could actually accelerate the price even more.
Exactly, it's like a chain reaction.
Wow, okay. So a lot hinges on this $64,000 level. What else did Cointelegraph say?
They pointed out another key level to keep an eye on $62,000. That's like the next line of defense.
The next resistance level.
Well, it's more of a support level. If Bitcoin drops below $64,000, a lot of eyes are going to be on that $62,000 mark.
Because that's where buyers might swoop in.
Right. They'll be looking to buy the dip, hoping to catch the bottom.
So it's like a high-stakes game of chicken between the buyers and the sellers.
Pretty much.
All right, so we've got this major resistance level at $64,000, a potential support level at $62,000, high open interest in the futures market, a whole lot of profit taking just waiting to happen. Is there anything else we're missing? Anything else Cointelegraph mentioned?
Well, they did mention there's a massive wall of sell orders above $64,000, like a huge roadblock.
So even if it gets through that first resistance level, there's still a whole army of sellers waiting just above it.
Basically, yeah. It's not going to be easy for Bitcoin to just cruise past that point.
Wow. This is like seriously nerve-wracking stuff. It feels like Bitcoin is standing at the edge of a cliff right now.
It's definitely a critical moment. Keep in mind, though, this is just a snapshot in time, right?
Yeah, true. Anything could happen.
Exactly. There are so many factors at play here. News events, regulations, even just general market sentiment, all of that can change the game in an instant.
All right, so for all of you glued to the charts, refreshing your portfolios every 5 seconds, maybe take a deep breath, step back for a minute.
This is a long game, remember?
Exactly. Bitcoin is going to do its thing, as always. The key is to stay informed, don't panic, and make smart decisions based on, well, what we've talked about today. All right, everybody, that's it for our deep dive this time. Hopefully you learned a thing or two and are feeling ready to ride whatever waves Bitcoin throws our way. Until next time.